David Flint, and I'm interviewing Rick Brown, who was the director of ACM in Victoria during the referendum, also our national strategist, our certainly de facto national strategist. I don't think we ever accorded the title, but certainly in what you did over the slogan and the advice you gave, it was first rate. It was generally believed, Rick, that Victoria, as you have explained, was the state most likely to vote yes. What was your overall strategy to avoid this, and why was it so successful?
One of the things about human nature, David, which none of us like to admit, is that very often our greatest strength is our greatest weakness.
That's an interesting comment.
And yeah, that is our greatest vulnerability. The weakness of the yes side was that they were so far ahead. It made them complacent and arrogant.
You mean they had so much in terms of money, they had political support, they had all of the newspapers?
They were going through the motions.
Yes, they had everything, didn't they?
Eddie Maguire, and on it went. But the effect of that was that in their own minds it was in the bag. And so, in my view, they weren't using their resources effectively at all, and that was because they didn't think they had to. So the key was, I said to the campaign committee earlier, I said, look, one of the things we did here in Victoria was that we actually sidelined the existing state council and then set up a separate campaign committee, and that caused ructions inside ACM.
You sidelined who?
The ACM state council.
Right.
And we set up a separate campaign committee. Yeah, and that caused a share of ructions and all the rest of it.
But you selected that campaign committee.
Yes, and it included some of the state council, but it was a committee of people who could contribute to the running of a cultural campaign, as distinct from going out and talking at public meetings. But I said to them. Then I said, we can't afford to do polling, but it's patently obvious it's an uphill battle. But I said, in my view, the only chance we've got
Just on that, if I could interrupt you, do you think your instinct is just as good as focus groups and polling?
Yes.
I think you're right. I think if you have good instincts, this is crucial. And
I don't think it's a matter of instinct, David. I think it is. I mean, I do my best in every way to put myself in a position in which I think the way the people in the outer suburbs think. And I think that's a state of mind. And I think that
is it also common sense?
Yes, if you think the way other people think, then you don't need a focus group to tell you what they think.
Yes, I think I agree with you. I think that what are often disparaging called ordinary people do have much more common sense than the elites.
David, it's well beyond that. I mean, you see it. There's this disparaging view that people in the outer suburbs basically have no sense of public duty at all, no sense of social conscience, that all they care about is money, and that all you've got to do to get their support is go and bribe them. And that happens every 3 or 4 years while going out and throwing out a bucket load of money. And that is a view I simply reject. I think people in the outer suburbs do have a sense of obligation, do have a sense of community. What's going on in the outer suburbs is people have given up. They simply know that the inner suburbs runs the place. They know that they don't represent them, and they think there's not much they can do about it, so they don't waste their time. So no, my views are quite different. So the answer to your question is yes. I mean, you see, the difficulty these pollsters and all the rest of it have got is that they've got several. One of the difficulties is that, in my opinion, to find out what really concerns people, you do have to do the equivalent of push polling. That if you ask sort of the standard neutral questions, people will give you answers and all the rest of it, but they won't tell you where their emotions are. And the only way you'll find out where their emotions are is to to ask the question directly. To have an instinct for what they are and go and say, but do you really care about this sort of nonsense, or are you more concerned about A, B, C, and D? And that's when they'll say to you, yes, no, whatever. But pollsters can't do that because that's called push polling. But then when you get these focus groups, the difficulty with focus groups is that in the end, you've got to interpret the answers that are there. I mean, I can get 3 reports from a focus group and get 3 different reports from the same focus group, because it's all about what people hear. No, I mean, with focus groups, I mean, the only way to do a focus group is physically sit there yourself and not trust anybody else to report it for you. But so that's the answer to your question. And so from my point of view, I just simply said to the group, look, basically, we've just got to take a punt. We haven't got any resources worth speaking about. But the only way we're going to get there is to run dead. At least publicly run dead. Spend our time on logistics, organising booths and all the rest of it. And then, to the extent that we run a public campaign, we do it at the last minute. Because if we start too early, they will align their resources and they'll just blow us out of the water. We have to keep them complacent.
This is a military tactic, is it not? The sort of thing a good general would do.
Well, you can call it guerrilla war, call it what you like.
You certainly don't signal to your enemy what you're going to do or how powerful you are.
No, if they think you're weak, let them think you're weak.
I think you showed great technique in that. Thank you very much.
That was the only choice. There was no great technique.
Thank you.